Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another breed profile here on the Canis Codex. I am your host, Dark Silver, as always. Uh, this breed profile, we're going to talk about John B. Swinford and his band dog, and we're going to talk a little bit about what the band dog is or where it is presently. So, just to start, to the earliest mentions of the band dog, one comes in 1576, and that is from Dr. Callis. Sorry, 1576. And he says that it was a dog that was good against fox and badger, bull baiting when necessary, can drive and tame wild pigs from meadows. Um, the next mention comes from William Harrison, and it is 1586, and he describes it as a huge, ugly, strong, fierce, able-bodied beast, basically. Um, Now, the term band dog also ties in with these dogs in the sense of them being banded or tied during the day, and then set loose at night to roam properties and do the guard work and whatnot. So that's where the name band dog came from originally. This was, like I said, this was a while ago. Um, Fast forward, what, almost 400 years, a little over 300 years, basically, to the 1900s, and since then, um, the band dog, in that sense that we just spoke about, kind of fell off. So, but before I even get into that, I do want to say this. Um, if you look at a good percentage of other breeds, you can kind of see them in the same light as your common band dog. Um, and I'm speaking about breeds like Dogo Argentino, Bull Mastiff, Presa Canario, American Bully. Well, the American Bully people, they're not really honest about what their dogs are. So, um, but still, that's a band dog. And the reason I said in the same light is because of how they're bred. Um, they're obviously they're crossbred dogs, but they had a purpose. But I don't want to go too much into that thought because that I'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I just say that in the same light as far as particular dogs being crossed to achieve, um, a breed with a standard. But and that's a good percentage of breeds, basically. Those are some that I want to throw out there. So, like I said, there was a decline uh, for a while, for hundreds of years, and then 1960 to 1970, John Swinford uh, wanted to recreate what he believed would be the original working Mastiff in the Middle Ages. Now, it's written in a book by Richard Stratton that this dog was basically created to, with the sole purpose to withstand and beat the American Pit Bull Terrier in combat. Uh, Now, I'm sure there's some truth to that, but I don't know if John Swinford said that himself. He may haven't. I haven't ever seen that anymore, but I do know that that was a strat. I remember reading that years ago. The Swinford Bandog was also written about in 1984 by Dr. Carl Seminci in one of his books. I believe it was The World of Fighting Dogs. Um, and he said that the Swinford Bandog was created using game American Pit Bull Terriers and Neapolitans. And that's only a half truth because he actually used English Mastiffs and Neapolitans Mastiffs with uh, game bred American Pit Bull Terriers. And funny enough, when I was putting this together, some of the older notes that I had, and then some of the newer stuff that I had found, which is was not a lot because when he died, this project died with him. Um, but it mentions the Neapolitan Mastiff as the Italian Bulldog, and that's how I was first introduced to it in the early '90s. Was the Italian Bulldog, so it's funny to see that again. Funny how you forget things that you used to know. But anyway, like I said, when John Swinford died, his program pretty much died with him. But before I go a little bit into what happened after that, um, surprisingly, this cross was, well, I shouldn't say, I guess you can say surprisingly, but the dogs that he used, the Neos and the English Mastiffs were, pretty solid, athletic dogs themselves. So, but the breed, the crosses and the program that he was using was set to create very healthy, athletic dogs, and they had great longevity for their size, usually ranging anywhere from like 90 to 110 pounds. Um, and it's funny because now when you see the band dogs that are out here, a lot of them resemble Presa Canarios in a way. Um, and then some of them, it's kind of like either Presa-ish or Neapolitan, kind of like in the face. They've either got that big droopy face on a slim body, or they're kind of like heavy bodied Presa Canarios. Like that's what they remind me of. I've seen a few. Obviously I have some pictures right now of some things, old and new. But today's band dogs that you see, people are just throwing anything together. A lot of them that I've seen, they really don't have a purpose or a program. It's just whatever looks good. And, I got to have a Merle in there and this, that, and the other. And a lot of their dogs just look terrible. But there are some people who did kind of take on what John Swinford did and created their own breeds, their own band dog breeds, and gave them names and standards. And, you've got the Presomeo, the Colossal Mastiff, the Pedro Pampas Argentino, and a few others. Shout out to Lamone with the Colossal Mastiff, Chad Mayo with the Presomeo. Hopefully I can get Lamone on. I mean, and we talk all the time, but it's a busy guy. It's hard to get him on for an interview to talk more about this dog. And maybe I can grab Chad Mayo as well. But other than that, there's not a lot of guys that really have a purpose behind their band dogs that I see, at least that they're showing anyway. If they are, they're not showing it. Now, I have spoken to another guy who is working with the Fila Brasileiro, and, he's doing some things with that. So, he told me that he's got a program. So, wait to see how that turns out. If you want to check that guy out, you can check him out at new_dogman on Instagram, NU_dogman on Instagram. It's not much for the band dog, man. Like I said, other than what I've already stated, it was a good sized dog. It had great drive. It was functional. It was versatile. It was stable with its owners. And unfortunately, when John Swinford died, that particular line of band dog died with him. Like I said, there are some rumors that the dog was used for dog fighting, and specifically to go against the American Pit Bull Terrier, as I said earlier. As a lot of breeds were said to be created for that. The Akita, they said, was one. The Sharpei is also another one that was said that was supposed to be the end of the game American Pit Bull Terrier, and all of those dogs failed miserably. According to, these particular books that were written, back in the 80s and 90s. Even the Tosa Inu was the only dog that could handle it. And even the Dogo failed miserably. Honestly, I mean, I've seen the exact opposite with Dogos. Tosas and some other dogs going up against gang bred dogs. But that's some people, when you really love something, it's hard to convince them that something's happened, something's wrong with what they like, and when there is something wrong, they make excuses for it. So, but yeah, so that is going to be it for the John B. Swinford and his band dog and the present band dog. Be on the lookout still for more breed profiles. I know the Cimarron Uruguayo is up. The Fila Brasileiro will be dropping if it hasn't already dropped by the time this video comes out. So obviously check those out. You're watching this one. I've got the Blue Paul coming. I've got one on Colossal Mastiff, the Pedro Pampas Argentino. I've got a lot of breed profiles coming. Obviously, the history of dog fighting. I just finished up the intro for that. So we're going to be dropping that intro, that part one soon, just to give a quick idea of what's going to be going on and the chapters and whatnot. So like I said, we're up to 311 subscribers. I know I count the subscribers a lot. I mean, I pay attention to my work, my channel. So like I said, I appreciate everybody that is tuning in. Keep sharing my shit. It's only going to get, well, I guess after a while, I'm going to have to put this stuff on the Patreon or whatever, because if I ever get monetized, I'm not going to be able to show a lot of the stuff that I'm able to show right now. So, but we'll run it as long as we can. So, peace out.